So the instrumental case. Instrumental nouns, when nouns are put in instrumental, basically they indicate relationships, but mostly it's about how the action is performed by a certain noun. Many things, the way Russian uses instrumental makes sense. Some of them don't make sense, but most of them make sense. For example, it doesn't make sense to me that the time of the day should be an instrumental, or the seasons should be an instrumental. But the other stuff makes sense, more or less. So here we go. So you turn certain nouns in instrumental to convey that you're doing something with them. For example, я режу масло ножом. I cut butter with a knife. I know, So the knife with a knife is an instrumental. That makes total sense. Бросать камнями, to throw with rocks, or to throw rocks. That makes sense. Кормить рыбой, to feed fish to someone. Махать рукой, to wave with a hand. That also makes sense. Хлопать дверью, to slam a door, also makes sense. Шевелить мозгами also makes sense. Now, time of the action, why does Russian put to get up in the morning? Morning is an instrumental. I do not know, but they do it. Or, for example, in the summer, we swim in the river. Летом мы купаемся в реке. Again, kind of makes sense to me, but also it doesn't. Now, it makes sense to me that instrumental, the manner in which you do an action is performed and is put in instrumental. That makes sense. For example, стоять спиной ко мне, to stand with the back to me. The back, with the back, is put in instrumental. Makes sense. Пришел пешком. How did he come? He came on foot. That makes sense. Петь хором, to sing in a choir. Говорить шепотом, to speak in a whisper. Ехать поездом, to go by train. Also makes sense. Instrumental is also used to describe some similarity between two things, like умереть героем, to die like a hero, or листья лежат ковром, the leaves lie like a carpet. Ветром сорвало крышу. In this case, we're describing the forces of nature. The roof was torn by the wind. Wind is put in instrumental. That also makes sense because wind is an instrumental. Мужчину убила молнией. The man was killed by a thunderbolt. That also makes sense because in English is by a thunderbolt. That also makes sense. There are three sets of verbs, or actually four, that take instrumental. For example, владеть, to own, злоупотреблять, to abuse, руководить, to lead or to manage, гордиться, to be proud of, интересоваться, to be interested in, любоваться, to admire something, наслаждаться, to enjoy something, увлекаться, to be fascinated by something. Some of these things are like in English, for example, to увлекаться, to be fascinated by, makes sense, but to enjoy food is, in наслаждаться едой, for example, that's an accusative in English, but it's an instrumental in Russian. So that it takes a little more to get used to, and you just have to learn these rules. There's no easier way. Set two of instrumental verbs is something like болеть гриппом, to be sick with the flu, заниматься, отличаться, пахнуть, рисковать, торговать. All these verbs take instrumental. Set two. Set three is verbs that basically mean to describe a state. Являться, становиться, казаться, указываться, считаться, оставаться, нанимать, называть. Except for those two that don't exactly name a state. I think those probably should be in this next set. The fourth set is it's with verbs like работать, to work, or записаться, to sign up as, or состоять, to become or to be a member, for example, стать членом. And finally, to служить секретарем, to serve as a secretary. We also use instrumental to describe dimensions. For example, the mountain is 2,000 meters high. Гора высотой в 2000 метров. Or the river is 1,000 kilometers long. Река длиной в 1000 километров. Or the man is 2 meters high. Человек ростом в 2 метра. And then certain adjectives take instrumental. For example, богатый, the man is rich, or the country is rich with something, I don't know, minerals. Беременная is also another adjective that takes instrumental. Известный is another one. Обязанный. So that's it, folks. I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoy this. Bye-bye.